Sky, you did very good. I'm very impressed and I want to steal you. You're an awfully good looking girl. This is Sky and this is her roadmap to success. Sky, being a Border Collie mix, has some Border Collie tendencies to her. She looks almost like a pure Border Collie. Let me see. Her Guardian really didn't have a lot of structure in place, and this is the first dog for the Guardian, so I think Sky kind of pushes the boundaries a little bit. Also, something I noticed is right here you can see a little bit of rust. If you have a white colored dog and you see rust on their fur, that means that their saliva turns it kind of a rust color. So in this case, her Guardian already checked with a vet to make sure there's nothing wrong there. I think this is just a case of boredom. And so we talked about different things that we could do to help her avoid the boredom. So the toys that she had only a couple toys that are really good chew toys. So one of the things I would recommend getting another antler, an intact antler, and if she isn't really interested, give it to another dog for a week and then bring it back. She probably will be more interested at that point. I also like a water buffalo tusk. Now if you get one of those, they're a little bit expensive, but they'll last forever. Just make sure it's solid. Don't get one that's hollow in the middle, otherwise you'll splinter it. You can also get Nylabones. Now I prefer to get these on Amazon or Chewy because they're a little bit cheaper than if you go to Petco or PetSmart. But don't get just the standard ones. Everybody gets the ones that looks like a cartoon bone. I have one that looks like a donut with a bunch of nubs around it. It's like orange. She loves that. My dogs love that one. I have the letter Y one that you guys have, but I have a bigger one and it's got a little bit of a bend to it and it's chicken flavored. My dogs chew it down till it looks like a prison shank and then you throw it away and get another one. I would recommend getting some real bones. Now, there are some simulated bones and smoked bones. When it comes to bones for your dog, you don't want to ever give your dog a cooked bone. Smoked bones supposedly are okay sometimes they're not, but they're also composite bones that aren't actual real bones that are put together. Those I'm not a big fan of. I would rather just use a real bone. Go to a good high-end pet store, get a marrow bone. They come in 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inches. They'll have marrow in it. Now they'll be frozen. Make sure she doesn't have it on the carpet because she'll get a lot of marrow on your carpet and she might dig at your carpet and chew it. We have hardwood floors out there. So give her one of those. She'll lick as much of the marrow out as she can, and when she gets done with it, take a pen or something and tap that marrow. And then she'll eventually get all the, so she can get access to it. Then let her eat all of it. Try to do that early in the day. Marrow is very rich. And then she'll have that bone and she'll just be able to chew on that bone. When dogs are bored, you can see a little bit of the rust underneath here as well. They often do licking and chewing. Sometimes they chew on furniture. In this case, she was starting to chew a little bit on some shoes and some inappropriate things. By getting her appropriate chew toys, we can eliminate that because we give her appropriate things to chew on. I would recommend getting a Kong, filling up with peanut butter a couple times. Make sure you get one of the high-value meat treat that has a strong aroma. Drop that in the Kong first, then fill it up with peanut butter and let her have it a couple times like that without freezing it. Once she's really gotten into it and she loves the Kong, then you can start freezing them. And I would recommend getting 3 or 4 of those so you can always have one in the freezer. I'd have multiple in the freezer at all times. But sometimes you'll pull one out and you'll be tired, you won't want to do it. You want to have several so you always have one there because she likes to do this sometimes at night. And so this way the Guardian can get up, sleepwalk over there, pull one out, put it on the floor, close the door. She goes to doing that and you can get your sleep. Let me see, we went over some rules. One of the rules she would be breaking right now, but she's not going to be allowed on furniture. Now, we have like a furniture warehouse in the next room, making a little inside joke. But once the furniture is here, she shouldn't be allowed on the furniture for at least 30 days or as long as the problems are still going on. At the end of that period, furniture with an invitation and only for good behavior. So if she's on the furniture and she starts barking, now you have to get down immediately. Remember, you have a window of 3 seconds to correct or reward your dog for them to make the connection. So make sure you're in that 3-second window. And if you miss it, that's okay if initially you'll get yourself in a habit of doing it, but try to mark it, get it within 3 seconds maximum. A third of a second would be your target. Let me see, what else did we go over? Getting a basket that you can put the toys in because the basket right now is kind of a little bit tall and sometimes it's hard for her to get stuff. At the end of the day, pick everything up, put it back in the basket. And so that way we can give the dog something fun to do, go to the basket, figure out which toy I want to get. When you get the new toys, don't give them to her all at once. Get her to her one day, and then one the next day, and one the next day, so it's kind of you can draw it out a little bit. Dogs will get bored with toys, so there's nothing wrong with taking a couple toys away and putting it in the closet for a week or two, then maybe take those out and then take 2 other ones away, put them, so you have a little bit of a toy rotation. That can help. Let me see. Something else you can do, we have treat dispensing toys. When you use treat dispensing toys, make sure you use a meat treat. And again, look at the entry point or the the level of difficulty. The toy that she had here was, I think, a little bit too hard for her to get the treat out of, and the toy, the cookie inside was an actual cookie, not meat. So I think she lost interest. We removed one of the tabs and then put some meat treats in, and she was very interested in that. She was interested in more of her toys. One of the things I do is I teach my puppies that toys are beneficial to eat or to chew on, because when I get them as a puppy, I feed them exclusively out of treat dispensing toys, all of their kibble. So it's something you might want to do a little bit. If you go to the Quest Ed section that I showed you, there's one about feeding your dog. There's one that I have that's orange that looks like a golf ball, and there's a link to it at the bottom of that post where you can order on Amazon. The dog has to nudge it just right for the kibble to fall out. It'll take her longer to feed, but you can close the door, sit here and do a little bit of work or read whatever, and then she's got to nudge that around. Make sure that if there's anybody left, shake it, let her know that there's there. But once it's gone, make sure you pick up that toy and put it away. Otherwise, she'll be like, why are you not paying out any more treats? I'm going to tear you open to see what's malfunctioning. Then you'll have to buy another one. So for treat dispensing toys, the one that you have are fine because she doesn't use them a ton, but if you get that orange one or another one, put that up in your closet. But it's a good way to feed her and get her preoccupied. Let me see. She's got a couple of issues. Barking is an issue. We went over, I think the video we did above should be on counter conditioning. You can use that not just for the knocking at the door. You can do it for people walking down the door. If she barks at people laughing or talking outside the door. Recreate those situations. Get some friends and talk to them on your phone and say, okay, start talking. And then you're feeding the treat first. We went over the non-jumping technique. She's pooped. This means it was a good session. For the non-jumping technique, let me know if you forget how to do that. I can send you a video on how to do that. Also, we went over a leadership exercise when I was leaving the treat on the floor. If you want to do that, let me know. That helps you practice using the escalated consequences, which is also something we went over. And if you forget what those are, message me. I have a video about those as well. I'm going to be working with this Guardian on. She's an expert at SEO, so she's going to be helping me hopefully get more people to watch these videos. We also went over ways to add structure to positive reinforcement. As everybody knows that watches my stuff, I'm only about positive reinforcement and dog psychology. I don't like to force. We actually just had a problem with her outside. There's an area of the building she doesn't like to go to. I think it's an electrical field, actually. But we were able to get her there over the initial hurdle by doing things like going over and simulating like we're going to go into a car. She loves going for car rides. Another way we did it was I had the Guardian walk in front of me, and I had the leash, and the Guardian walked in the direction. So that's one thing we should have done at the end. So when we had problems, and we kind of aborted at that point. But use your roommates, go out there with her, and if she shuts down, have them hold the leash. You walk in front, stay about 8 to 15 feet in front. Try to toss the treats. That seemed to work for a little while. You're going to probably find different things that'll help her with it. Also, practicing spending time in that area will help it be more comfortable for her. We talked about feeding her there. There's some benches out there that look over the marina. It's a beautiful sunny California, not like Minnesota. So go out there and enjoy the afternoon and take a couple selfies and send it to your friends who are stuck in the snow. But if we can feed her out there, that might help her as well. And if she locks down and you're by yourself, when you get to the point where she locks down, maybe put the food there, the dish right in front of her. If you have taught her how to eat out of one of the treat dispensing toys, and she gets used to it in here, that might not be a bad solution out there. I would just simply keep her on a leash. Let me see. Because she pulls on the leash, we added a martingale collar, and I showed the Guardian how to add a special twist to the leash. I also went over the 5 rules I have for a structured walk. The main ones is make sure you keep her on her side. When we correct, it's a quick pop up and immediately take the tension off. So it's just, and she's so sensitive, we just need a tiny little touch. And also keep your arm going straight down. The Guardian has a tendency to start pulling her arm back and putting tension on it. So you find yourself flexing your arm, you're putting tension on the leash, and she's going to guaranteed pull against it. Keep your arm loose like a noodle. Let me see, what else? We went over petting with the purpose of passive training. We went over ways to add structure to petting. So from now on, when she nudges you, instead of petting her, tell her to sit. Then pet her under his chin, say the word sit, and or ask her to lie down, or recognize her if she comes and sits in front of you to prepay for sitting. We also want to not walk around her. The more we do that, the more we tell her we're a leader or we're a follower, because leaders don't defer to followers. So if she's asleep like this and I wanted to walk there and there's not a bed here, if I wake her up and say, get out of my way, that's being a jerk. But if she's standing here and I want to go there, I'm going to walk through her. If I walk around her, I'm burning extra energy, and that tells her that I'm deferring and she's in a more of a prestigious position. So she needs to learn when a human comes, I defer and get out of their way. She also likes to jump up on the Guardian, so when I'm doing that exercise, I try to look for opportunities that the dog is really in a jumping mood. Now, she jumps in 2 capacities. One's because she's excited, and one is because she's trying to let people know I'm in charge, or I'm claiming you as my property. When people come through a door portal and the dog jumps up, that's usually I'm claiming you or I'm letting you know that I'm in charge. So we went over a door claiming exercise. Again, I have videos for that, but the Guardian did a good job of that. The problem is we have such a huge open space, it's easy for the dog to go around. I would recommend getting some painter's tape and putting that down so that you actually know exactly where the line is. And sometimes when you do get furniture in there, you can use your kennel or some other stuff. You can put some stuff up there and make it to a smaller entry point that's easier to defend. Now, if you do that, each time you practice this, move the stuff a little bit further away so the entry point gets bigger and bigger until it's eventually the real one that you have. But if you practice this enough, eventually the dog will just go sit at the line and say, are you guys going to go answer the door or what? Now, when you have your neighbor or your roommates coming home, if they can call and text you if they have time, just say, door exercise. And you're like, yes. So then you can either do the door claiming exercise or the door jumping exercise, because she's going to be more interested in jumping on people right when they come through the door. Now that one could be mixing the poisons a little bit, because she might be like, am I jumping on them to claim them or because I'm excited? So the door claiming exercise is going to reduce her intensity of her reaction, because we're going to increase the distance and that'll lower the intensity. And then you can practice that leash jumping exercise to stop her from jumping up on people. And don't just practice here. If there's an area or a situation that she fails in, go back to that area maybe right away if you can, or if not, later on, and recreate that situation. Maybe there's a marching band, and then people come by, and a woman with a stroller, and then somebody on the boat, and then she jumped up. Well, that's too many things going on. Maybe we wait for a situation where there's nothing else going on except for the person walking by, and we have that person come by and help her practice sitting. The more we use passive training and pet her for sitting, the more she's going to start sitting to mand, or manding as we like to call it, which means I'm going to sit to ask the human for something. So get in the habit of doing that as much as possible. Remember, use the word paycheck. So if you see your roommate is petting the dog and the dog's standing, you say paycheck, we stop petting, and then they say, Skye, sit. As soon as she sits, again, we prefer to pet under the chin, and we're just going to say the command word. Not good sit, not good Skye, not good dog, just sit. Just come, lie down. And that's passive training. So every time she comes to me, it comes to you, pet her and say come. Every time she lays down on her own next to you, you didn't ask her to, pet her and say sit or down or whatever the command word is. And if she does anything unusual, like when she brings you a toy, if she brings you the straw man, straw. I try one-word commands is what I like to use. But if she brings you the why, the antler, maybe you come up with different names. You have multiple antlers. But you can name her toys, and then being a border collie or a border collie mix, they're very intelligent animals. And so if you can tell her, no, I want you to give me the carrot, she'll keep on going back, and when she gets every time she brings the carrot, pet her and say carrot. After a while, she'll be able to get the carrot on command. Now, I asked the Guardian if she liked to play fetch, and she said she does not. However, I was actually playing a little bit of fetch with her. So the way I do it is I take the object that an object she wants, I know, and then we toss it. And do it when I call this riding the wave. When she's in a mood, she's bringing you stuff, that's the time to stop, put your computer away if you can, and practice with her. I say fetch 3 times. As I throw it, I say fetch. When the dog picks it up with their mouth, I say fetch. Then when they come to me, I'm holding a treat. I don't tell them to drop it. I just hold it in front of their nose. They'll try to take it with the object in their mouth. And as soon as they drop it, pop the treat in their mouth and say the word drop. Now you can also do this when I would say fetch, not drop. I was trying to do 2 things at once. And then step on the object, and when you pick it up like this. If you go like this implies I don't think I have to have it, so I have to trick you and get it by you fast. You're confident. This is my stuff. I don't have to rush because I'm the leader. Pick it up, tell her to sit, throw the object again, and say fetch as you throw it. When she touches it, fetch. When she brings it back to you. After a while, if you offer that treat, she'll come and spit the thing out at you, wanting to fetch. And if she's got some hunting dog in her, she's very much may want to do that. And that's a great thing to do before you have guests come over or whatever it is, to help her feel get that unspent energy out. The Guardian, she's not a super high energy dog, and the Guardian does a good job of exercising her, a lot better than a lot of my clients. But if you notice that she's doing this, she's bored, so we need to distract her. And some exercise can be a good way to distract her as well. She's not bored, and she's tired, so she's not licking. Let's see, what else did we go over? Other rules, not being allowed in, so for the furniture, I forgot to go over this. If she's on the furniture, now I try to avoid force, and she really shuts down at force. So what I would do is just have a treat, toss it on the ground. When she gets it, say the word off. And and then when she gets back on the bed, toss another one down. So eventually off is in context. She understands if I get down on the floor, I get a treat, and I get petted, and I hear the word off. So every time you ask her to get off the furniture, and she does, pet her and say the word off. And really pet with a purpose, because I think the guardian has petted her and catered to her to so much that it shifted the dynamic, so the guardian like wants her more, and she recognizes by not giving the guardian what she wants, I'm in the driver's seat. So just by playing a little bit of hard to get, you can get the dog coming more to you as opposed to the other way around. Let me see. Trying to think, is there anything else we forgot? Oh, one little thing, when you feed her, does she eat all of her food right away?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Dogs eat in the order of their rank. So when you feed her, make sure before you put food in, block her from getting access to it, using the escalating consequences. Have a carrot, a chip, something that you can eat. If you eat something first and then she has to eat after you, she sees you in the more prestigious position and has more respect for you as an authority figure. And then what I do is I give my dog a command word to eat. So when she starts taking her first bite, say feast, or whatever the word is you want to use. Again, try to come up with fun command words. You can say sit, calm down, but if you say feast, I want my dog to go forward, I say charge. I want him to back up, I say retreat. And I want him to go to the dog bed, I say Venice. Coming up with those fun command words can bring some levity to the situation and makes things helpful. Also, I would suggest coming up with a naughty dog name. So my dog's name is Quest, but if he does the wrong thing, I call him Rufus. So now I've separated, when I say Quest, he knows it's nothing but positive. If I say Rufus, he knows he's about to get in trouble. So if I say sit and he doesn't sit, I say Rufus, he sits down immediately. So come up with a name of somebody that you don't like or something you don't like that's your naughty dog name. And if you get to the point where you say Trump and then throw Trump away and call her somebody else. One word commands only. I'm trying to think. Anything else you can think of? All right. Sky. Oh, use a kissing sound as your affirmation. I use a kiss to get a dog to pay attention to me. Sky, you want a treat? This is Sky, and this is her roadmap to success. Remember, everything you do trains your dog, only sometimes you mean it. Right, Sky?